Let me ask you something. What if I told you that in just the last few days, the entire future of technology quietly shifted beneath our feet? No dramatic countdown, no glossy keynote, just a digital earthquake, and barely anyone noticed. But if you're paying attention, this moment, right now, might be the spark that defines the next decade of human potential, or leaves millions behind. Google just flipped the AI game on its head with a surprise update to Gemini, weeks before their own annual I/O event. Overnight, web development went from lines of code to a single prompt magic trick. But here's the kicker. Apple's been watching. And behind closed doors, they're secretly negotiating to inject that same AI power into your iPhone. Meanwhile, OpenAI is making billion-dollar plays, shaking up deals with Microsoft and rewriting their own future, all while buying up code startups like they're shopping for groceries. And that's not even the freaky part. Because in a parallel timeline, one we now share, AI avatars just got so real, they'll make you second-guess what's human. A Hollywood-level video model now runs on a gaming laptop. And a new music generator creates entire 4-minute tracks in less time than it takes to tie your shoes. It's chaos. But it's the kind of chaos that fuels revolutions. Let's break this down. Not just so you can understand what's happening, but so you can use it. Because if you're someone who wants to make smart decisions, build real wealth, and live ahead of the curve, this isn't just another tech update. This is your edge. So buckle up. It all started yesterday, when Google just casually launched an early preview of Gemini 2.5 Pro, a model they were supposed to save for I/O in a few weeks. But instead of waiting, they basically yelled "surprise" and dropped it straight into the wild. Now, I know what you're thinking. Great, another upgrade. But no, this wasn't just better, it was a leap. The new Gemini scored a jaw-dropping 147 ELO points higher in web app generation. In human terms, that's like going from hobbyist to championship level overnight. It now leads the pack in web dev AI, confirmed by people inside Google AI Studio. It even hit 84.8% on the video MME benchmark, which means it understands video content not just on paper, but in context, in nuance, in meaning. And here's the real kicker. It's not hallucinating function names anymore. The code it writes, it actually works. Developers begged for it. Google delivered. And now, if you're using the Gemini API or the consumer Gemini app, you're already riding this wave, dragging boxes, generating React code, visualizing it live. It's like turning web development into digital Legos. With a 1,000,000-token context window, enough to process an hour of 4K video or 11 hours of audio in one go. That's not an upgrade. That's a paradigm shift. But while Google's on offense, Apple's been quietly playing defense, and maybe offense at the same time. Sources close to the action say Apple is deep in talks to embed Gemini directly into iOS 19. That's right. The company that's been preaching on-device privacy for years is calling up Google for AI reinforcements. Why? Because Siri isn't ready. Their internal models are still cooking, and with Samsung already flexing Gemini in their Galaxy S25 camera apps, Apple can't afford to show up late this fall when the iPhone 17 drops. So for now, it looks like you'll get Google's AI in your iPhone. Yes, the same company Apple's tried to out-innovate for a decade. It's kind of like Ferrari borrowing Tesla's engine to win the next Grand Prix. Funny? Maybe. Strategic? Absolutely. And if this feels like a short-term fix, that's because it is. Apple wants to go back to its own stack once it's ready. But in the meantime, they're prioritizing user experience. Think intelligent shopping lists, AR product previews that don't glitch, Siri that actually feels like a genius assistant. This isn't just about convenience, it's about commerce. It's about controlling the mobile economy of the future. But while those two titans are swapping handshakes, OpenAI is over here flipping the board entirely. Earlier this week, CEO Sam Altman told staff they're keeping OpenAI's nonprofit in charge, scrapping plans for a for-profit spin-off that had sparked controversy and even a lawsuit from Elon Musk. You might remember that whole November drama where Altman was ousted for a weekend. Well, that governance scare never fully faded, so now they've locked it in. The nonprofit mission stays. Altman says they even consulted the attorneys general of Delaware and California to make it official. The message? OpenAI isn't just chasing profit. It's chasing purpose. Of course, that hasn't stopped Elon from still suing, even though the plan he was fighting against has been abandoned. At this point, it feels less like a legal battle and more like a grudge match with no referee. According to leaked investor documents, OpenAI is slashing Microsoft's revenue share from 20% to just 10% by the end of the decade. That's billions in future revenue. Redirected, Microsoft's publicly playing nice. But behind the scenes, you can feel the tension building, because OpenAI is also reportedly trying to raise $40 billion at a $300 billion valuation. That's SoftBank-level ambition, and that means they need every margin point they can scrape together. Which brings us to their biggest acquisition yet, Windsurf. Formerly known as Codium, OpenAI just bought this AI coding startup for around $3 billion. Their platform does real-time code completion, co-editing, and language support inside a canvas view that's like Google Docs. But for software, it's more than a feature boost. It's a weapon. Because now, OpenAI can go head-to-head with GitHub Copilot, Claude's developer tools, and Cursor's in-editor plugins. It's about owning the coder experience end-to-end. And with ChatGPT Pro now boasting over 400 million weekly active users, that matters. And if you think the coding world is moving fast, wait until you see what just happened in avatars and video AI. Hagen just released Avatar 4, a tool that lets you feed in a single photo and voice sample, and spits out a digital clone that talks like you, emotes like you, and lip syncs with zero jitter. One user fed it a picture of their dog. Another made an alien talk. It's eerie. It's brilliant. It's kind of terrifying. Because it's not animation. It's expression transfer. The subtleties of speech, the pauses, the eye movements, they all map directly onto your digital self. So now, you don't need to be on camera. You just send your AI twin to pitch, to teach, to sell. Welcome to the era of personal presence as a service. But we're not done yet. The team behind Facetune, Lightrix, just dropped a bomb of their own. LTX Video 13B, a Hollywood-level video generation model that runs on a gaming laptop. 13 billion parameters, open source and optimized for rendering sequences with motion curves, keyframes, and multi-shot edits. It's like giving a solo creator a Pixar pipeline on a $1,000 PC, and because it's trained on Shutterstock and Getty footage, you can use it commercially. No copyright traps, no hidden risks. And just when you thought the music industry might be safe, Ace Studio entered the chat. They unveiled ASAP V1, a music generation model that makes full 4-minute tracks in just 20 seconds. Let that sink in. A song faster than a sip of coffee, and not just loops. Real structure, intro, chorus, bridge. You can guide it with prompts like mellow lo-fi beat or fade out strings at 3:30, and the model builds it to spec. The real-time factor, over 30 times. It's GarageBand on steroids. And yes, it runs on consumer hardware like the RTX 4090 and Apple M2 Max. Free under Apache 2.0. No subscription, just power. Now take a breath, because that was just the last few days, and it's not slowing down. With Google I/O just around the corner and Apple gearing up for its fall launch, we're entering an arms race in creativity tools, AI infrastructure, and personal productivity unlike anything we've seen before. These aren't just tools, they're accelerators of human potential. But here's the thing. It's easy to get overwhelmed. It's easy to think this is too fast for me. But that's the old mindset. The new game isn't about being an expert in everything. It's about knowing where the waves are breaking and choosing which one to ride. You don't need to be an engineer. You just need to be aware. This AI revolution, it's not waiting for anyone. And if you can harness even one of these shifts, be it avatars, music tools, coding co-pilots, or smart integrations, you're already ahead of 99% of the world. So here's your move. Don't watch from the sidelines. Start building. Start exploring. Start experimenting. Because wealth, influence, and creative freedom are no longer gate-kept. They're just one good prompt away. The future isn't coming. It's already here, and it's waiting for you.